keep telling myself I don't have ADHD, but I don't know where I am, thought-wise. Hello, my name is Reese Mosley. If you are avid viewers of this channel, you may recognize me as Music Video Man or Banana Suit Man. That's it. But I do make my own that's it. But I do make my own films on my own channel called HBS Studios. We just recently finished my latest project on premiere night, and that's what I'll be talking about with y'all today.
This is Reese Mosley. He's a college freshman, he's an actor, he's a composer, he's a musician, he's a filmmaker. He also happens to be a friend of mine, and like he said, you may recognize him if you watch this channel from our Remember That Night music video or from our short film, A Halloween to Forget.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Reese Mosley in his studio, director and writer of On Premiere Night, an interactive short film that you can watch on YouTube right now. We're about to play through it. I have actually never seen any of this. I've been saving it for this moment, and I want to...
Neither have I. I have not seen any of it.
A little while back, I visited Reese at his house to talk about his brand new interactive choose-your-own-adventure style short film titled On Premiere Night. So if you've watched a YouTube video, you're probably familiar with end screens. It's that thing where at the end of a YouTube video, YouTube shows you a couple of other thumbnails for some other videos that you might be interested in. As a YouTube creator, though, you can customize your end screens. And that's exactly how On Premiere Night works. You watch the first video, and then at the end of that first video, you get a choice presented through the end screens. Depending on what choice you make, the story might be drastically different this way or that way. So I interviewed Reese for a bit, but then the two of us sat down to play through some of the storylines in the film.
In a nutshell, it is a movie about making a movie. It sort of like details this friend group that like get together to make a film, and the choices you make will affect how well the film turns out in the end.
So how many possible endings are there in total?
Ooh, in total it's like 37. If you choose the comedy route, it's 35. If you choose the tragedy route, it's 2.
How many videos are there total?
There's 70 videos. At each level, I had to do a branching story to that. That was more of what defined the movie, was those sort of branching out rather than what I thought everybody was going to go for.
Just the coordination that goes into something like this is crazy, because you've got a group of people together and you're like, we're going to do a short film, but it's not one story, you know?
Yes.
It's like the challenge of directing that and like kind of getting everybody on board.
I was shocked at how little I had to explain everything to them. I sent them the script ahead of time, and like they did sort of like read through it, skim through it, and they would be like, hey, this bit's kind of funny, and hey, this bit sucks. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But like,
So as I mentioned briefly earlier, Reese's creative talent doesn't really stop with just filmmaking. He's also a composer, and he composes all of the music for all of his own projects.
So this music, is this you?
yes.
That's like the most impressive. Well, I mean, there's so much that's impressive, but like that really impresses me.
I love making music. I think when I was like 2 or 3, my parents got me a little like piano baby toy, like you pressed a note on the keyboard and it would just like play a song that it already had. They told me that I had like a physical tear come out of my eye when I was listening to it. I wasn't like sad, but like I had like some weird reaction in me when I was listening to the song that caused a tear to fall, and they were like, oh, this gets weird. They took me to piano lessons, and I took piano lessons for 12 years as I learned theory behind it, how to play it on because this is a foundational instrument. As I like learned and stuff, then I sort of dabbled in like, maybe I could write some stuff. And my first few songs were shit. That's gonna happen. The first few things that you do are just gonna be awful, but you learn from them. When I started realizing that I was listening to films and listening to the music, I was like, okay, if I'm composing music and I'm also listening to the music in film, what if those things meet? And oh wait, I also like doing films because of Spielberg, and oh, this choose your, and then every single either short film or like video skits that I've done, every single thing has been written and directed and scored by me.
So like we've talked about, On Premiere Night has 2 main branches to it, comedy and tragedy. When you're originally presented this choice, you think it's just going to be the type of movie that the characters are making, but it's really not. It also greatly affects the type of movie that you as a viewer end up watching. So when Reese and I played through together, we started out by watching a bit of the tragedy side first. I'll leave things vague so as not to spoil the whole thing for you, but this is a moment in the story where Reese's character finds himself struck with writer's block, and he has to balance that with his preoccupation for making sure his cast and crew are still having a good time, but also his obsession with making a good movie, but also this feeling of everything just crumbling to the ground around him.
I really like the dialogue and the writing here. I'm kind of glad we chose tragedy because this works. This really hits, I think. I'm invested.
Good.
All of this stuff is too true. Like
It's very, very true.
I've written so many things that were too ambitious or like longer than we could do or more than I could pull off, and like scaling it down is one of like the smartest things you can do, especially when you're like a student filmmaker with super limited resources. It's a lesson to be learned. It really has like done what it's supposed to do, and like if you make bad decisions, you'll end up in a tragic spot.
Yes, you will end up in a tragic spot.
So whenever we got done playing through this a little bit, I wanted to get a bit more general. I wanted to talk to Reese about his process, his inspirations, and his mindset when it comes to making his movies.
I started with like making stories based off of other people's work. What originally got me into film? I think it was E.T. The extraterrestrial. E.T. was the one that I was like, oh, this is cool. Because that one had a really emotional impact on me. Both the story and also John Williams. John Williams, huge inspiration for music. Specifically, choose your own adventure type stories. The main project that got me inspired was the Stanley Parable. It was a video game talking about the nature of choice in video games. My writing process is usually staring at a blank sheet for 7 hours and crying and then coming up with something. I embrace the fact that I am not a professional. I embrace the fact that I am still a learning student filmmaker. It can be hard. Like, I would love to write a story in space and have like adventures on different planets or whatever, but like, I can't do that right now. Like, I embrace the fact that I don't have resources just yet to do visual effects, because that is a form of comedy to me right now. There's a charm in still obviously learning how to do things and then just making your limitations part of the movie and part of the story. My favorite part honestly has to be all of the bits where the camera isn't rolling on shoot day. That's what I enjoy. That reminds me that they are having fun. They would get annoyed because I would constantly ask like, hey, are y'all still having fun? I do like the little like the bloopers almost. I do like the behind the scenes footage. I like to see the shooting process, and then editing that is sort of like a reminiscence of like, oh, this is what we did, this is why we have fun, this is why we do it, we're having fun and we're telling a good story.
Yeah.
So that's it for the interview, but that's not it for the video, because we actually have a big announcement for you. So I'm going to turn it over to me and Reese at the Macon Film Festival this weekend. Check this out.
I'm Sam Morgan, and you're watching Pictures Up. So if you watch this channel, you might know that the last time Reese Mosley and I collaborated on a short film, it was for A Halloween to Forget last October.
And now it's August.
Now it's August.
The next year, 10 months later. Still just as good as we remember, right? Right, Zoe?
Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me during this video for all my talking and maybe some of his talking. But now we're gonna advertise a new thing. One Night in Squatchtown. It's written 90% by him, 40% by me.
Wait, the math is not math.
Hey, camera people don't talk.
Okay.
That's right, if you could decipher what Reese was just saying.
There's nothing to decipher.
We co-wrote a script. It's called One Night in Squatchtown, and just like A Halloween to Forget, it is premiering this October, Friday, October 28th. So we've got a poster right here in front of Reese's face for One Night in Squatchtown. One Night in Squatchtown, October 28th. Watch it. It's gonna be great. That's all.
I wear another funny suit. Okay, so that was my sort of interview talking about On Premiere Night and me and stuff. So please, if you haven't seen it, even if you just watch one ending, that would mean the world to me. I can understand if you can't watch all 35, because that's a lot. Please go support me for On Premiere Night, support my channel and stuff. I have like a ton of just random stuff. I'm sure you could find at least one thing that you can enjoy. It's Haunted Bed Sheet. You can't miss me, because that is literally what I am everywhere, except on Spotify, where it's just my name, Reese Mosley. I have all of my movie scores up there and also other stuff I do. Ignore the Among Us remix. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think it's time to do the thing.
Okay.
I will see you in the next video. As always, I'm Sam Morgan.
And I'm now Reese Mosley.
And
this is Pictures Up.
Perfect.
One take wonder. We only need one take. We're theater people.